ladies and gentlemen, this is Sniper signing in to Command Conquer Red Alert 3 on the map Infinity Isle with a live cast game this time. Not a replay, this is a live cast, so there will probably be some lag present, as one of the observers is currently noting. Spawning on the right side is the purple allies player. This is Stryderr. And his opponent spawning as the blue Empire player. This is zaar. Yeah, we all just kind of decided to band together in one of the lobbies and give this live cast a shot, see what happens, and just pray for no lag. Oh boy, yeah. AZ, that is a wonderful question. I don't know who's lagging realistically. Maybe me. I don't know. But will Alfred the dog be crushed? No, the Alfred the dog is going to make it into the base, get some scouting information off, unless this Imperial Warrior can cut him off. Typical dojo opening from an Empire player. Stryderr going to go around and go ahead and lay waste to these structures. Generally speaking, a very good idea. People destroy these because they want to like preemptively protect their oil derrick, or if enemy infantry manage to get down inside the base, they don't want the infantry to have like a place where they can go take cover, take refuge, and like just hold that position in the base a little bit longer. Dojo just a little bit too slow, not able to cut off the engineer. And now Stryderr just going to be a little annoying. Gonna slap that attack dog right there in the expansion area of the refinery. Based on the placement of zaar's MCV, I would not be shocked if his plan was to go for a refinery out here somewhat soon. But now the dog has moved, so it's all good there. Dojo gets taken out, and Imperial Warriors starting to square off with the early game PKs. Shield micro looks like the connection in this game is going much better. His Stryderr's actually able to do his shield micro to keep his peacekeepers alive. In another game we tried to have earlier today, the lag was it was alive and well. It was very much alive and well. There was like a 2-second delay on all of the movements, and then all of the allied players' stuff just kind of died. It was an AVE matchup, and the Empire just kind of steamrolled. Micro just could not happen, but it looks like this game is going to be quite different indeed. Mecha Bay going to be coming out. Is it going to be a T2 Mecha Bay? Just going to be Tengu spam? As right now, it's going to be a whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Airfield coming on out from Stryderr. More than likely going to be some Vindicators. Going to see if he can get some of that stop micro with the Vindicator coming on out. Will he? He's laser locked Javelin, so he's more than likely going to go over here and waste the oil derrick utterly and completely. Which now, Imperial Warriors, they seem... Uh-oh. Those are exposed Javelin Troopers. They're done. Boink. And saves the oil derrick, too. That's actually a really nice pickup. Saves the oil derrick. Now, all of Stryderr's anti-vehicle is gone. So this Mecha Tengu is sorta, you know, just available to do whatever it wants. But, of course, here comes the Vindicator. Will the micro happen? Yes, the micro is going to happen. zaar is paying attention. Will he be able to shoot down the Vindicator? I don't know. I think the Tengu's actually faster. Or the same speed. No, the Vindicator's faster than the Tengu. Oh, but he might as well just engage the Apollo fighter, though. That is nice micro, though. Moving or trying to get the damaged Tengu behind the Apollo fighter. That is always really nice. But now both Tengus are incredibly weak. Needs to get them on out of dodge. Will he get them? Yes, both of them will get away in one piece. What is that, 2 or 3 Apollo fighters? It's 2. Yeah, okay. Stryderr went for a 2-and-2 split on his airfield. Gonna be really handy indeed to have those Apollo fighters up in the air, trying to secure air superiority, especially... There's 4 Tengus down, probably 5th. Yes, 5th Tengu. Now, if these Tengus get repaired, or some point defense drones come down, they had a pretty good chance of overwhelming those Apollo fighters, but since he forced the transform... since the transform was forced early, like earlier than I think that zaar would have possibly liked, that did allow Stryderr to get a pretty good engage. Still, like shot down one of them, did some damage to the rest, and just trying to see what he can get done. Did not lose either of his Apollo fighters too. No, zaar is having a good old laugh about this one. Maybe because the oil derrick was just taken out, and Stryderr's MCV is just kind of like right here. Didn't do anything about it, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Third ref already out for zaar. Probably going to be a 4th based on the positioning of this MCV. Moving up to the ridgeline. Going to be a 4th coming out soon. Relatively soon, anyway. Vindicator flights heading out. Imperial Warriors is kind of picking away at the MCV. I mean, they'll kill it eventually. Oh, but the Tengu numbers are too big. Oh, Stryderr, you do not need to take that fight at all. Those are too many Tengus for just 2 Apollo fighters to handle. Those 2 Apollo fighters will get reamed pretty convincingly against those Tengus. And I know you want to protect your Vindicators and give them like some air support, but one like 40% health yellow bar Apollo fighter versus one like 1 shot, 1 kill Apollo fighter. That's not really a good. It's not really the best option to go in for air cover with. Little attack dog just being a little bit annoying, just like, costing this mining route maybe another like couple of milliseconds. Just trying to be a little bit more annoying. But now that Riptide's gonna come along, recognizing that this ore collector is completely undefended, gonna come on along and delete that ore collector out of existence. That's a lot of Tengus. This is some Tengu spam coming out right now. Some great Tengu spam. That's gonna be the death. That is the end of these 3 Peacekeepers. Riptide gonna be shutting it down on land. I think this collector would have had a better shot at winning on land, but since you're out here on water and you do have the torpedoes on the Riptide, that's just kinda, yeah, it's not gonna go. That's not gonna go in the Empire's favor on that one. You know, when I first started playing this game, I didn't realize that the Riptide ACV got the torpedoes naturally when it was out on the water. I thought you had to like garrison it with rockets, with rocket infantry for the torpedoes to take effect. I legitimately thought that's how it worked. Now granted, this was a long time ago. Like this is like back when it first came out, like the 08-09 time, right? Like I did. Oh man, looking back, it's quite funny now. Vindicator. Go home, Vindicator. You're drunk. Just popping a squat right above the airfield. But now, 5 Apollo fighters. I think recognizing the Tengu spam threat, Stryderr's like, okay, no, enough's enough. I'm gonna take air superiority now. Gets up 5 Apollo fighters. Will he go for 6? Yes, he will. 6 Apollo fighters and just the 2 Vindicators. We'll have to see who wins this fight now. Is if Stryderr gets into a bad engagement, especially versus point defense droned Tengus, which, that's 1 dead. That's you just try. Oh, that's a 1-for-1 trade too. That is so not good. 1-for-1 trade. That's a 1 Apollo fighter. You do not want to trade that out for just 1 Tengu. You want to trade that out for maybe like 3 or 4 Tengus if you can. But now, yeah, okay, Stryderr, I think he's recognizing the need for some ground-based AA, which I would not be surprised if that's what he went for with this armor facility. Multi-gunner IFVs, especially now that strikers are taking the map, multi-gunner IFVs are going to become very important, because as that last engagement kind of proved, these 6 Apollo fighters, while they're good, they can't necessarily guarantee. It's a Riptide that comes out too. That's a little, that's actually a little surprising. There's not really any infantry out here, unless he wants to go out here and harass this again, which, I mean, he very well could. Stryderr came close. He almost sniped the refinery core before it could deploy. That is one of the most disheartening things that could ever happen to an Empire player, is when a refinery core starts to go, like, be deployed, or you're trying to expand, and then it just gets sniped. Like, right before it deploys, something comes along and snipes it. That's just, it is absolutely heartbreaking to see that kind of thing happen. Oh boy. I'll tell you from experience, I've lost a couple cores that way. It is not very good at all. Cryocopter's going to be coming on out now. Heightened clearance, that means, is done for the Allied MCV. Will this be some kind of a cryo spam? Maybe. If Stryderr can get air superiority, sure. I mean, it very well could be some... Yep, Frozen Collector is now a dead collector. But if Stryderr can get air superiority, then I think absolutely we could see some cryo spam coming on out, which that collector actually takes the Riptide ACV down with it. Because of the repairs from this Imperial docks, that actually allowed that collector to damage the Riptide enough with its personal defense gun, so that the honorable discharge explosion wound up taking it down. No Navy. No extra okay, well, it's about to be an extra ref. Stryderr's working on his 4th ref, shrinking down that prospect. That's actually, I don't actually see too many Allied players doing that. Shrinking down an expansioneer, or expansion something, and then using that as opposed to just moving your MCV everywhere. That's where a lot of RA3 Red Alert players just do these days. That's what a lot of them do, is that they don't really sense like Sputniks or prospectors to get their expansion. They just kind of roll out there with their MCVs and just kind of hope for the best. But oh, that's not a good engagement for Stryderr at all. 2 Apollo fighters ripped out of the air. That is bad. Needs to take a fight over the anti-air, but this anti-air is going to be in danger of being overwhelmed. I think he's just going to dive on. He might just dive on top of the Zaar. Might dive on top of these cryocopters. See what kind of damage he can get done. Oh, but they're going into a meat grinder. All the Tengus are in a meat grinder. This is not where the Tengus want to be. They're all going to go down. All the Tengus are going to go down. Will there be any Apollo fighters left? One Apollo fighter survives, but there's still anti-air on the ground. That cryocopter needs to be careful, and then multi-gunner turrets. Man, the Tengu cloud just got evaporated. But then again, so did the Apollo fighters. There's one singular veteran Apollo fighter remaining. Observers, the OBS chat is kind of going at it. Good old Onion, he's getting into it. Let's have a props to cheer for Onion. But no, this is the definition of air wars. The definition of the air wars. Both sides now only down to their anti-air, trying to rebuild some of the Tengu blob. Is Zaar. Well, he's got it. The strikers are definitely his biggest advantage right now. Needs to take advantage of the fact that he has so much ground-based anti-air, but still does need to continue producing the Tengus. If I were in his shoes, I would without a doubt work on getting my Tengu numbers back up, but I would also want to be careful, because with these Guardian tanks coming out, you know, one of them switches over to Laser Painter, and then, I mean, this Defender VX turret will slow them down a little bit. Gonna be, I think it'll be able to kill maybe 2 of these. Yes, maybe 2, but then the Guardian tanks, if the Guardian tanks took front, I think they could have overwhelmed it, I think. But had the Guardian tank, if one Guardian tank went to Laser Painter, or maybe 2, does that affect stack? Is it like a cumulative stacking effect if you have more than one Guardian tank on Laser Painter? Or it makes foes much more vulnerable to attack? Well, if you have like 2 Guardian tanks on Laser Painter, does that have like a stacking kind of effect where, like, say if a Laser Painter makes an opponent, let's say 30% more susceptible to damage. Well, if you stack it, or if it's a stacking effect, maybe it wouldn't go like 60% more vulnerable, but let's say like if 1 gives you 30, maybe 2 gives you 40, maybe 3 gives you 45, you know, and maybe it caps off, or maybe it caps off at a certain point, and it kind of increases incrementally based on how many Guardian tanks you have all using the Laser Painter. I don't know. That's actually, I'll have to look into that actually and keep a closer eye on that. So that is something to keep. That is something to wonder. Very much is something to wonder. Tengu's coming back out. Yes, 5 Tengus and 5 Chopper VXs. Will those Tengus? I don't know if they'll be able to overwhelm those Apollo fighters. They'll be close. I think that one is gonna go down. Yes, indeed it does. But that is 1 dead Cryocopter and another dead Vindicator. Heroic Striker VX. Oh, the Striker. A Heroic Striker is one of the most disgusting units that the Empire can ever get its hands on. If Heroic Striker just melts pretty much everything. Expansion been online for quite some time. He hasn't sold the command hub, so maybe Strider's keeping that around for some name. Well, no, maybe not, because he can just deploy the seaport up here in range of his MCV, and that MCV has got a really big build radius. Allied MCVs, sometimes you don't really appreciate just how big of a build range those things actually have, but this MCV able to build from up here all the way down here onto the water. And to answer Onion's question on that, I don't think you really, well, kind of. If you click on it and you see, if you click on the actual structure, you can tell like by what ability appears here. If you see heightened clearance, then you know they don't have, it's just T1. If you see max clearance, you know this has T2. Or if you don't see anything, then you have T3. Or, yeah, the little bar right there is also a good way to do it. But air engagement is going to be happening again. Tengu's trying to go in there for that Cryocopter. Almost getting thrown into the meat grinder again. That is not what you want to be doing. Instead, transforms onto the ground to take on these multi-gunner IFVs. But these things, multi-gunner IFVs, though, they can't really hit shrunken down targets that well. So, they hit the full-size targets just fine. But say if they start trying to attack the shrunken targets, my shrunken Tengus are so fast. They just start zipping around the map, doing whatever they please. Just done deal. The Yari mini sub this time, that Yari mini sub is not going to let this harassment go unpunished at all. That is going to be the end of this Riptide ACV, unfortunately for Stryderr. Yari mini subs, they're such a cool little unit. Like, this little mini sub, you know what I mean? I know the Soviet's a cool sub. That's pretty hard. That's hard to top. That thing is pretty cool with its Ultra Torpedo's ability. But the Yari mini sub, it's just, I don't know, something about the Empire of the Rising Sun. It's just that much more awesome. And now Stryderr, realizing the value of the laser painter, gonna be punching through this turret, this time with significantly more Guardian tanks. Now this is an interesting predicament because there's ground-based anti-air. There's ground-based anti-air that needs to die first. Otherwise, he'll just kind of sit here and pick away at the choppers. You're going to turn on health bars for this engagement just so we can keep an eye on what's what. That is a heroic multi-gunner IFV, but they're all dead. They're all gone. The Tengus are not out in front dealing with these Apollo fighters. The choppers are all going to go down. No, transform the chopper. That's a heroic Apollo fighter. That heroic Apollo fighter, if that thing stays alive, that is going to be such a painful unit to try and take down. Which, indeed, it does live. Assault Destroyer leaving the waters and coming onto the land. The Assault Destroyer with its one gun. Just one gun. Yeah, I think they took a page out of Supreme Commander's playbook and gave the Allies something that can go on land. And they did the same thing with the Soviets, too, with its little extendable legs. The two remaining Chopper VXs, though, still has that heroic Chopper VX, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But as you can see, it's a heroic Chopper, it just adds so much DPS to the output of those units. So much. Hello, 5th Refinery. So now Zaar is sitting on 5 refineries, has another Imperial Docks. That one's just for the defense. This one is more than likely going to be an offensive Imperial Docks. Oh, Apollo fighters. No, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want that engagement. 2 of them do go down. Only the heroic one gets away. Oh, boy. I understand what Stryder's trying to do here. Which, actually, Stryderr, since he's not using this airfield right now, he could sell it off if he needs more money. I mean, of course, if he plans on going back for 2 airfields worth of aircraft, which he very well might. Where is it? Vindicator. Oh, he is using. Okay, so he does still have a Vindicator on this airfield. So he is actually using it. I did not realize he was using it. Is that a heroic? That's a heroic Vindicator. That is a heroic Vindicator, and he's actually going to go try and freeze down the entire refinery, not just the collector. Going to get the entire refinery as a whole. Man, that's some cheeky little disrespect right there. Saying, nah, your collector is not good enough for me. I'm going to go get your entire refinery. And the stop micro still happens. Uh-oh, but you got to be careful. You don't want to lose. You do not want to lose that heroic Vindicator, and he does. He lost the heroic Vindicator to the Tengus. That's 2 Apollo fighters down. Will the Tengus be able to win? Yes. Well, no, they won't. Because the ground force is moving in. Guardian tanks, multi-gunner IFVs. Zaar is in trouble, I think. If those multi-gunner IFVs take down the Chopper VX, which they are, Zaar is out. He's had it. No more units. Stryderr takes the win. GG. Well played to both of these players. So for the first ever try at a live cast, it is certainly interesting. So that means there will likely not be any music in the background of this video since it was a live cast, and I wound up leaving the music on. I turned the music back on whenever I just play the game multiplayer, and I was playing the game multiplayer this morning, so hopefully that will all be okay. But Zaar had a really impressive eco lead for a lot of that game, but what really did it, I think, was just he lost that initial Tengu cloud. If he didn't lose like tunnel vision on top of that cryocopter and just send all of his Tengus down the meat grinder gauntlet with multi-gunner IFVs, the Apollo fighters, you know, that just so much anti-air, so much concentrated anti-air, and suddenly Zaar goes from a dozen Tengus to 0 in about 7 seconds. That was a really devastating kind of blow. But Zaar, like, credit to him for coming back, or trying to come back to the way that he did, making that T2 transition work. But the unfortunate thing about the Chopper VX or the Striker VX is that they're just not very versatile. Well, they're versatile, they're just kind of slow. So like, they're not the fastest reaction force you're ever going to have. So I mean, ideally, having that gigantic Tengu cloud with point defense storms, that is a very, very good thing to have. And losing it, it just wound up proving to be too much. Eco actually surprisingly even. Zaar was able to close the gap there at the end of the game, especially taking that 5th refinery with 60,000, roughly 61,000 in favor of Zaar and 63,000 in favor of Stryderr. Very much so a pretty balanced eco game, all in all. For quite some time, though, I think that Stryderr did wind up having the advantage just because he harassed the harassment, or he harassed the harassment. He harassed the economy a lot of Zaar. Took down the naval collector several times, a couple of times on the land-based collectors. I mean, you know, just little things like that. They add up, and that's what makes the eco difference in that long of a game. And rough, just shy of 15 minutes. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed, and let me know what you think down in the comments below of a live cast. Do you want to see more? Do you want to see maybe some live footage of me playing first person? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And this is Sniper, signing out.